What's up, everyone? Coach David here with another video talking today about the law of attraction, otherwise known as LOA, otherwise known as manifestation or conscious manifestation, actually. So I'm going to break down what it is, the common definition, and then I'm going to give you my perspective as a life coach who's very results focused and process focused on what works for me and my clients, and somebody who has coached a lot around psychology and behavior. What do I think about this? And also what to look for in law of attraction teachings, what to watch out for if we get to that point in the video and this stuff is even real and works, right? The law of attraction is the idea that when you focus your mind and your thoughts on something that you want, that it will bring it to you, that it will manifest for you in your life. That's the simplest definition there is of it. That definition doesn't address action really, right? That's the common definition. You know, I like to talk about it in terms of manifestation, so I'm already spoiling myself here by saying yes, the law of attraction is a thing. It is a thing that can work, but there is a lot of things to watch out for on the path, and I am a practitioner of it, but I like to call it manifestation or conscious manifestation because it really has been around for a long time in spiritual traditions, actually. The New Age movement in the 20th century, in the 1900s, I think even the late 1800s, but a lot of law of attraction stuff really came to be, and what you think becomes your reality, or thoughts become things is another way to say law of attraction. There's Neville Goddard, Joseph Murphy, Ernest Holmes, Wallace Wattles, tons of names that are out there that basically teach law of attraction. Now they may or may not call it that, and then of course we have Abraham Hicks and Bashar, and you've got all these LOA coaches now that are sprouting up on YouTube. And it's very interesting because there's a lot of not success going on in the law of attraction, what I consider to be improperly, and really focusing in on, okay, what really works and what really works for me, and discarding the rest. Kind of the Bruce Lee method, if we're to call it that, of the law of attraction, which is his whole philosophy. Bruce Lee, the martial artist, movie star, was take what works and discard the rest. Take what works and discard the rest. And that's what you have to do with anything in your life, right? And most definitely with the law of attraction. When it comes to simplifying, I'll make some more videos that go into particular keys of the law of attraction that I've uncovered that have worked for me, and I'm still a work in progress, right? Very simple thing that you want to understand and focus on. No more than 3 things. What I'm going to talk about here is not based on what technique works, because technique doesn't matter in the end. Doesn't. What works are the fundamentals, and then you can use any technique that works for you. There are base techniques like affirmations, visualization, mantra, feeling it real, which is a Neville Goddard thing. So the 3 things that you need to pay attention to are desire, belief, and faith. Desire, belief, and faith. Desire is the natural inclination that arises in you that I want this thing to happen. I want to acquire this thing. I want this relationship to happen. I want my body to be this way, right? And the main domains to look at in terms of the material world are really 3: health, wealth, and relationships. When we're talking about the material world, which is what everybody is interested in the law of attraction, including myself, right? Now, the reason I say desire is it works out better if it's something you really actually want. It tends to. The better of a manifester one is, the less that desire may have to be. And there's a lot of talk in the community about, if I want it too much, then I have a strong desire, but I can't get it, and there's this lack going on. That's what I'm going to clear up for you right now. It's not about lack per se, it's about belief. Okay, let's just think logically about this here. You could have doubts about somebody and get into a relationship with them. The tendency, though, is you don't believe that you're worthy of that person, and it causes all these behaviors that push them away, or an energy that pushes them away. That's what it's really about. There's a belief conflict, and if one has a desire for somebody but believes that they're going to get that person, then to get that relationship. But if you have beliefs that counter that and say, well, I'm not worthy of that person, and actually also if you have the belief that you can attract certain types of people, but maybe you don't desire that person, you could have that person chasing after you. Now you may not come to meet them in wanting them, or I don't have a belief that I couldn't get that person, right? And a lot of times what happens, and I'm really going down the SP path. SP means specific person. If you are in the law of attraction community, you know what that's all about. That's like the number one thing. If you don't care about attracting a certain person, then you don't have any beliefs that are getting in the way of that happening. And then, there's a lot of talk about that lacking energy and needy. Yeah, that plays out. We need to get to the root cause of things here. And trying to deal with lack like, okay, I just need to let go of lack, doesn't really work very well. I've tried it, and you see people that are like really needy, but you have to fix the beliefs. So that's the second point. Now the third that I'm going to talk about is faith. Okay, now faith is incredible. I come from a background of not a lot of faith, not religious at all. My family was basically atheistic in behavior, and there was never anything talked about religion, spirituality, any of that. Like zero religion in my family. If anything, there was like a rational scientific base. My dad was a food chemistry major, very sharp guy. In a way, for me to be talking about this stuff, and even to be spiritual, is really a journey for me. And I am very much a spiritual person. So when it comes to faith, this has actually been one of the harder parts for me, because faith can override belief. If you come into the law of attraction, you have a faith background, you have a distinct advantage over people that don't. Okay, now everybody has their core spots, like certain female law of attraction coaches have an issue with their body or weight that is their key thing, and they can manifest money, and they can manifest relationships. They really struggle with their weight. One of these coaches I can think of has a lot of stuff, but that is a core standing issue, and that has to do with belief ultimately. And she talks about how she has a lot of faith, right, naturally, and she grew up around that. But still, she has a real sticky issue. So in a way, now we have to come back to belief and go, there are some deep-rooted beliefs there that she has that she really struggles with. And I'm saying this from a very empathetic and compassionate way. I'm not criticizing her, because actually overall, for the most part, I like what she teaches, okay? But anyways, so faith can really help accelerate things, and all faith is the ability to give away what I want. I know it's going to come. I'm not like, when's it coming? And I know it's going to come to me. It's sort of crosses over belief in that sense, right? I think there's some beliefs tied there, but to me, in my experience, when they say let go, let God, God is the faith part. Sidebar, there's a lot of talk in the manifestation community, law of attraction, that's just like, let go, be done with it. I don't think letting go is enough. I think it needs to be let go, let God, or let go and have faith, personally. Because if there's not a faith there, other than having strong belief and having those in alignment, what tends to happen is this doubt just is constantly there. And even though your desire is strong for the thing, the doubt pulls on it. And the doubt is really, again, coming out of belief. I can even reduce this to desire and belief. If we were to order desire, belief, and faith, I would say that going 3, 2, 1 from order of least to most important, counting down to 1 being the most important, it would be desire, faith, belief, right? Belief is the key thing here, because if I believe that I can get something, I'm just going to have faith in it. If I believe I'm going to get something, I don't have to desire it that much. And by the way, I highly recommend Neville Goddard and Joseph Murphy. And that's about it. If we're going to simplify this, those are the only 2 teachers I'm hardcore about. Really on a Neville kick lately. I was on a Joseph Murphy kick for a while. And I'm really on the Neville kick because I'm really exploring God, one absolute consciousness, which I do through some Hindu traditions. And by the way, another side note, basically the roots of law of attraction are very Hindu. God is within, God is an all-pervading experience. Everythingness and oneness, it's all the same thing, is very Hindu. In the West, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, which are also known as Abrahamic religions, are very, God is this external force that either loves me or hates me, or I have to fear, or hopefully he's loving, but it's this external force, and that's called dualism. Dualism, to me, holds no water. I really explored and thought about this. Non-dualism is where it's at. It's where there's a oneness, but there's no separateness, there's no two-ness. So one, not two. And even Neville says this. I was listening to a Neville today, Neville Goddard, and he said, one, not two. And I was like, oh, that's so amazing that he said that, because he ties in non-dualism, and so does Joseph Murphy. I love that Neville brings it in there, because there is a power. It makes manifestation a lot easier. It makes not worrying about things a lot easier when, in my opinion, one realizes that this is all kind of a big play in consciousness, universal consciousness. Nothing really ultimately matters. Nothing is like super important to worry about, because it's so vast and eternal and infinite. This video is not going where I thought it would go, but I'm flowing here. So it takes the pressure off. It can take the pressure off, right? There are people that teach manifestation that say, don't worry about that God stuff. Just worry about getting your beliefs right, what you want, manifest, get good at those skills, and then worry about God later. I don't agree with that fundamentally, meaning that you have to do it that way. You can do it both ways. I agree that you can do it the way they're talking about, like I just explained. But if you're interested and drawn to having an experience of non-dual consciousness, which is amazing, which is basically what enlightenment is. It's very difficult to become enlightened. You don't have to become enlightened to experience these wonderful experiences. And what I've noticed is they tend to bring a sense of faith. When I'm getting all up in my head and anxious and like, oh, is this thing going to happen? And I don't know what to do. I give it up to God, or I give it up to consciousness. And by the way, for me to use the God word, remember, I came from a not godly background. God to me is not this external thing. It's this all-pervasive, I'm part of God, you're part of God. Neville always talks about, you are God. That's what he means. I have a hardcore intellect. I don't let things slip by easily. I need to make sure and test them and make sure they work. And so on that note, when it comes back to LOA, law of attraction here, you really got to scrutinize and be careful. And the attractive stuff in the LOA is, the 555 technique, or the double water switch jars and bless the vibes technique. I don't know the specific techniques because I don't care, because I know it's not about that. I tend to use visualization. I tend to use mantra, real simple stuff. And I use, when I'm waking and when I'm sleeping, I use those states of consciousness transfer, individual consciousness, to work on stuff from a manifestation viewpoint. But I don't get all caught up in the details of, this technique and that, because it's never about that. The technique needs to align with you and help you build belief and build faith, basically, right? And in a way that works for you. Just saying the 555 technique works is a falsehood. It may work for somebody, but it may or may not work for you. You have to test it and find out, right? Or it may work for a little while, but then it stops working. Why? Because the underlying beliefs aren't being changed. Now, it's possible to manifest things by just really focusing in and overriding the beliefs. The problem is I've found, is that if one doesn't work on their beliefs in the psychology, things are going to revert back. You're not going to believe you can have those things. You're not going to feel worthy. That's usually a typical problem, right? Or I don't believe it's really possible for me. In the Hindu tradition, by the way, there's a set of powers, basically, called siddhis. Siddhis. Siddhi. You can look it up. And there are, depending on how they're classified, between 10 and 30, 35 siddhis. And what are siddhis? They're powers of being able to resurrect, being able to speed up or slow time, being able to heal, being able to manifest objects out of the blue. This is well-documented stuff in Hinduism, Buddhism, etc. And it's very normal for those traditions, actually. Over here, it's like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. They're like, yeah. And Jesus had siddhis, apparently. It's also thought that Jesus may have, because there's a large part of his life from like 10, 11, 14 to 30 that's gone, and they think, at some point he ran into some Buddhists or some Hindus, who knows? And all of a sudden compassion shows up in his teaching, because Jesus was a Jew. He was born into Jewish tradition, right? So all these interesting historical things. The reason I bring up these siddhis is, I mean, that takes a lot of practice to do those things. Obviously, I don't have them. I do overall believe that those things are real, and you don't have to take it to that level, but we're sort of tuning into these manifestation powers, right? As we work on our beliefs and our faith and so on and so forth, and our mental concentration even. Just to break it down again, yes, LOA, from the coach's perspective, is real. I've worked with clients who I can just sense and feel when we talk. If I throw out a few manifesty type terminologies, that they practice it or are interested in it, and so I'll weave that in. But fundamentally, I still base a lot of what I do on psychology and behavioral stuff that works, especially when it comes to people skills, right? When I coach on that. But I've coached it to everyone from an entrepreneur to an executive, to a mom, in college, fresh out of college, whatever. All walks of life people, right? It's good to have a good base of good behavioral skills and good psychology. Like if we look in the world at successful people, there are plenty of successful people that don't practice conscious manifestation, law of attraction. Some do, but we're all manifesting. We're all at least unconsciously manifesting, and so is the universe, right? We want to go down these levels deeper into spiritual, but conscious manifesting is its specific skill set. It's amazing, but it also can really F your life up if you don't pay attention or know what you're doing or follow the wrong people. So my plan here is to bring more of these videos in a very functional way that can merge nicely with, having a good mental stability, good belief system, good identity, and good skills. There's a Reddit that I follow that says, look, if you can get something by conventional action, you don't need to sit there and try to manifest it. If you want to get a beer from the fridge or get a beer from the store, or get an apple or whatever, let's go get it. Now, if you want to practice on trying to make that appear, go for it. But you should focus your manifestation on bigger things, right? There's a lot of stuff in the community that's, oh, look, I manifested the parking spot or the free coffee or the blue glass or the feathers. Yeah, okay, great. Like, if you want to do a little bit of that, but, people going, yay, yay, look what I manifested. It's like, is that really what you want to focus your time on? Or do you want to focus on something that's like, wow, this has changed my freaking life? Getting that relationship, getting that career promotion, flourishing in business, healing myself. That's more worthwhile. Yeah, there's some stuff to manifesting those little things, and it is easier to do because there's less blocking belief. Pretty quickly, one should focus, in my estimation, in my practice for myself and helping clients, when it seems appropriate, go a little bit more of a manifestation around coaching. You should focus on the stuff that matters, the stuff that's tougher. And especially if I'm coaching somebody, that's why I'm here, is to point out, hey, I think you've got a belief here. What's up with this? I hear this, and do you see that, or what do you think? And they're like, oh my God, I didn't even realize, right? If you're working on manifesting an apple, all those beliefs aren't going to come up. Not really, right? Unless somebody has a fear of apples, then maybe they got a deep belief of, around apples, and that's a different thing though. So anyways, hopefully that all makes sense. If you like this, please hit the like button. This helps the algorithm, train the algorithm, spread it out to more people so they can see it and benefit from this type of content. And if you think somebody should watch it, then hitting that like button will help with that, actually. It actually does. Again, subscribe if you're new here and you really like this and this helped. And leave a comment. I'd be curious to hear, what do you think of the law of attraction? BS? Do you practice it? I would love to hear from you what you think about it, and if it even has worked for you. Drop a comment below. I will respond to everyone that comes through. I love doing that. Until next video, we're complete. See ya.